Welcome, folks. And we are live. This is the Massachusetts Pirate Party's Pirate News Show. We're trying to do it regularly at 7:30 Sunday Eastern Time. So here we have, from your perspective, Steve with the bandana, Christine in the top center, myself in the right side, Malt on the left side, and Joe, who's helping us technically, is all the way over there with the J. So how's everyone doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, doing good. I'm kind of looking forward to the days when we can go back to the office and not necessarily work 24/7, but I'd rather be working 24/7 than not working at all.
My mustache is now fully longer than my head, so I got that
you
going
need
for
moose,
me.
dude. Moose.
I do. I don't think I have
just moose.
So as we posted yesterday, I think, Friday, sorry, the governor's moratorium on evictions and foreclosures ends today. Oh no, it ended yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on? How can we make sure people can protect themselves if they're going to be foreclosed on or evicted?
So I believe that we've found a number of legislative solutions that are currently working through their House. I know there was 230, which has kind of hit a roadblock, but someone mentioned finding something else.
Yeah, I mean, there's still the Trump's executive order, which has a bunch of paperwork you have to fill out in order to in order to not be evicted, and is not an easy slam dunk process that also expires the end of the year, conveniently after the election. But in terms of, if someone gets a notice from their landlord saying, get out, what are their rights?
So, sorry, I found the official CDC form. It's on the cdc.gov website, /coronavirus/2019 m-ncov/download/declaration-form.pdf.
Which we'll put in the description.
Yes. That you can fill that out. That's, I think, the first step. The second step, if you receive a notice to quit, is to not quit. Like, your landlord can't evict you. Only a judge can evict you. Like, start packing up, start looking for alternative housing, sure, but don't leave. Like, don't make it easy on them. Don't sign anything. Contact your local legal aid. I'm pretty sure it's fairly heavily geographic. Like, I know there's legal aid clinic in Worcester and Boston, but I'm not sure how widespread it is across the state. Sorry, someone else. Give me a minute.
No, and I mean, as one of the things that you can do, is, I mean, it may get you nowhere, but it doesn't hurt to try. Try talking if you're out of work because of the whole coronavirus thing. At least try talking to your landlord. Let them know their situation, and try to work something out. You may have luck with this, you may not. I know I have a tenant, and their work situation was impacted, but we came to an agreement that allowed them to stay, and basically it was pay that an agreement that where they would pay to the best of their ability, and I'm totally cool with that. This is an emergency, and I hope that there are more landlords like that. But I agree with Malt. There are ones who are trying to strong arm people out. I have no idea who the hell they're planning to rent to. especially given things as they are, as like in Boston, who's in Boston, there's not a whole lot of there are a lot less college students around than one would typically have. So there's, I think a forced eviction is kind of short-sighted on the landlord side, but yeah, just don't if you don't have an eviction order from a judge, you are not being evicted.
Anyone in Illinois can use the AI bot Rentervention. It's an AI chat program set up by Illinois Legal Aid Online and the Lawyers Trust Fund of Illinois that can basically help you fight evictions and also write out the complaint forms if your landlord is slacking on maintenance. So that's another option. There are also specific eviction resistance groups across Massachusetts. There's Springfield No One Leaves, the Worcester Anti-Foreclosure Team, and one other whose acronym I've forgotten. And I know, yes,
Urbana, I think.
City Life Vita Urbana as well in Boston. So, if you are facing eviction, don't feel shamed. Don't be ashamed. You have to reach out and see who in your community can help you.
This pandemic is not your fault.
And the depression that resulted from the poor pandemic response is certainly no one's fault. Well, there's one person, I would say.
There's one person. Well, maybe a couple, but I think there's, for most people, the folks who are going to work each day and just trying to keep the roof over the head and food on the table. Yeah, you're doing what you can.
So we, of course, have an election coming up, and we'd like you to vote for questions 1 and 2. Question 1 is right to repair, and specifically creating an open system whereby independent shops can get the mechanical data from your computer, and we believe in open. And to be clear, the ads are like open, anyone can get it. That's not what open means. Open means shared and transparent across the manufacturers. Not so think of it, using the set of APIs that are going to be shared across all of the manufacturers. Not your data is going to be open. And it's not GPS data, it's mechanical data. There's an error code on your car engine or something that they need. And the other one is, of course, question 2, question 2, which is ranked choice voting, and we hope you vote for that. The elections started. Today was the first day of early voting. I know. Sorry?
Second day.
Oh, sorry. Mail-in voting has already started. So please vote early. Don't vote often. You only get one chance. But do vote as early as you can. But something came up. I don't know, something about a laptop. What's going on with that? How can we make sure that we can protect ourselves? What lessons should people learn from this? Anyone want to summarize?
So the Malt. Well, I'll let you. You should lead in with just an explanation of what Jamie is hinting about, and perhaps getting into the whole chain of custody issue that sort of gets wound up in this.
Imagine you're Hunter Biden. You've got a laptop that doesn't work. So you take a flight several states away to an unlicensed repair facility where you hand over your laptop and then don't pick it up. And then several months later, the guy who now has your laptop sorts through it and realizes that he's got a treasure trove of incriminating information. So he calls his good buddy, Rudy Giuliani, and sends him a copy of the hard drive. Not the original, a copy. Like a Xerox. And then Rudy Giuliani America's mayor.
Internet, maybe?
This is all just their story, by the way. So if you notice any holes in it, like Rudy Giuliani sits on it for several months and then decides to release these incredibly damning details, a few weeks before the election, instead of, revealing it when he first got it, if it was such a matter of national security, which it's not. The reason not to trust this is because it's a copy of the data. It's not the original. You cannot verify that it has not been tampered with. It is entirely within the wheelhouse to take a hard drive with like legit information on it and then put in a handful of unverifiable like bullshit claims. Mm-hmm. That was initially the concern with, I think, a lot of the Steele dossier, that they couldn't verify any of the information in it, so they didn't want to report on it until BuzzFeed put the whole thing online after the election. Sorry, not going to dig that back up, but yeah, there's no reason to trust any of the shocking details from this laptop.
One of the things I would have, as we were discussing before going on the air, I thought that this whole situation was just a really great example of why you should encrypt disks. So enabling disk encryption these days is pretty easy. It doesn't slow your computer down to any noticeable degree, and it provides a very significant margin of safety and security for whatever data you're storing on a laptop or a computer or whatnot. But as I thinking about it more, the one thing that the disk encryption does not do, it does not prevent fabrication. So it's just in the old days, people would a cop would pull somebody over, they'd reach in, pull a bag of pot out of their pocket, throw it in the glove compartment, and then they open the glove compartment and say, "Hey, look what I found here." So digital having attribution and maintaining like verifiability. Well, just put it this way: electronic documents are incredibly easy to forge. Granted, once you get into actual real cryptography and digital signatures and non-repudiation guarantees and all of that other stuff, yeah, that works. But I could take any collection of files, put it on a hard drive into a folder called users H. Biden and say, "Hey, look, it's incredible. It is trivial to do. It's just a matter of taking the time to do it."
Do we even know that? Is there even any evidence that it was his laptop?
I think there were a few photos with him in it, which are not. It's not proof that he owned the laptop. It's just proof that whoever fabricated this shit had photos of Biden. Which, I mean,
their Facebook account or Flickr account or something.
They were slightly more private than that. But yeah, it's a non-story. Like that. There's nothing Hunter Biden did for Joe Biden that a Trump child has not done for Daddy Trump 1,000 times worse.
Yeah, I thought one of the genuine, or sort of one of the general policy things about this administration was that working with the Russians is cool. For the Ukrainians, it's like yeah.
I mean, one thing I'll just point out: if you're going to encrypt your phone or your hard disk on your laptop or your desktop or whatever, always be sure to back them up regularly, because if your device goes south and the disk has some problem or you can't gain access to the hardware, you can lose all your data. So do back it up regularly to just a hard disk if you can do that. Although phones are, of course, something different. So we, Malt, you and I had a great time yesterday. What were we doing?
So we were walking through downtown Worcester. We scouted around the common, and some of the grid mapped out 98 individual spy cameras. The thing that surprised me the most was I was expecting the common to be fairly thickly blanketed with cameras, and it was really just the section closest to City Hall. And the other two heavy concentrations of cameras we noticed were one in the super gentrified grid neighborhood, and then around the RMV.
Oh, interesting.
And the federal courthouse, yeah.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's less surprising, but I was definitely expecting more in the main South neighborhood at large, given that it is mostly non-white. So it was honestly interesting to see how surveillance and gentrification are linked in that way.
So I have a question. Is Worcester's City Hall, is that a typical place for demonstrations, protests, public events?
Yeah, it's
That sort of thing. Okay.
pretty much the thing that surprised me most is that we couldn't find any on the front of the building, and that's where most of the rallies have been. We found one inside the building pointing out of a window.
Conveniently with a paper thing around the inside, just so that whoever's inside that room will definitely not have a camera pointed at them.
Yeah, so
there was the one on a pole facing the front. So there are three. I remember there was one in the back of the building. There was one to one side that hidden away behind a window, which was very funny to find. And then there was one pole. There was that one pole in the front, and then there were the cluster of 6 or something in the common area facing the back of the building.
Yeah, because I know Boston has a bit of a tradition of, Boston, and I mean, there's some state agencies involved. It depends on jurisdiction of the property specifically, but the State House in Boston has a number of cameras pointed at the sidewalk area in front, and those weren't there a few years ago, and then people started doing demonstrations in front of the State House, and hey, they put up some cameras. In fact, they even put up several, at least one of them, while a demonstration was going on. So while you were there hanging out there, you saw a bunch of couple folks pull up in a bucket truck, and then just start going on there and screwing it to the pole and running cables and to the little receiver or transmitter and stuff. The what do you call it on Boston Common? The circular rotunda. Yeah. So that's another place. The what?
Parkman Bandstand?
Parkman Bandstand. That was what I'm thinking of. That's another place where demonstrations have traditionally occurred. And now there's, one year there was a big one, and it got wired up, and it's still wired as far as I know.
Yeah, there are 4 cameras we found the last time we were out. So if folks are interested in joining us for one of these events, it's getting colder. So we didn't stay as long on Saturday as we might have liked, but we're going to try and have them as regularly as we can in different communities. We talked about Chelsea, Somerville, Cambridge, and anywhere in Massachusetts. There's still more of Boston. There's still more of Worcester, Springfield. I think Lawrence is going to be putting up a lot of cameras, or has already. So if it's something you're interested in, shoot us an email at info@masspirates.org, and we'll be happy to arrange an event in your area. We also have some instructions at our wiki, which we'll put down in the description, for how you can go out, get some apps, or get an app for your phone and easily map the cameras in your neck of the woods. So do we have any other updates?
It's real bad.
We have our upcoming party conference.
So what's the date we picked for that?
I believe it was the 13th and the 14th November.
Yeah, I think it's the 14th and the 15th. We have that. That's going to be completely online, and we're working on getting all those tools set up. It's going to be a mix of discussions, especially about our platform, and with the election over, where do we go from here, and some live and maybe recorded how-tos. I know, Steve, you talked about one that you were going to touch on.
So I would like to do. I'm planning to do a talk on the history or 20th century U.S. housing policy and how that was largely built around racial segregation and discrimination, and it probably makes a lot more of a difference in your community than you might realize.
Thanks. And so we've got 2 days, which is more than we usually have. So that's, potentially 12 hours. And of course, we can always record stuff in advance and then put it up. So if you want to talk about a particular topic that's pirate related, please contact us, info@masspirates.org, and we'll happy to get you on the schedule. So I think that's all we have for now. Did I miss anything? All right. Well, thank you, folks. Thank you all for participating in this. Thank you for the people who are watching us as we live stream and the folks who are recording. If you enjoy this, please give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe and be sure to hit that little bell so you can get the notifications whenever we put stuff out. Again, 7:30 Eastern Time, U.S. Eastern Time. We're trying to go and record these and live stream them each time. So thank you all very much, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening. Bye.